Hey everyone, and welcome to another edition of Get Sweaty. As usual, I am your friendly neighborhood soda, and as always, joined by the crew. Ben, Big Fudge Raider, and I gotta admit, I just noticed your background, and I 100% appreciate it. And of course, 50 Shades of Gaming. How are you guys doing today, my man? My guys.
I took over from my alter ego, 50 Shades of Geek, and now my other channel, which I almost never use, but I finally get a chance to use this name.
I'm doing well and excited to talk about this, and I'm glad you appreciate my background.
Yeah, actually, that's funny because I'm sitting here. It's like I want to pay tribute to it a little bit because technically, it is the first marketed video game adaptation of a movie. And for those of you who don't know, I'm talking about E.T. the Extraterrestrial that came out from the Atari system, which is arguably the most infamous game because it's considered the worst video game of all time. It's got nothing to do with the movie. And of course, everyone knows the legend by this point, which was actually proven to be fact. That Atari took all the game cartridges that did not sell and buried them in a New Mexico landfill. And about 6 years ago, they confirmed it. There is an amazing documentary on Atari that covers that I highly recommend you all watch. If I'm not mistaken, it should still be free on multiple platforms. Definitely check that out to learn the history of that game. It is very fascinating.
And I'm pretty sure that documentary is on Netflix. I'm not 100% sure on that.
Yeah, it was on one of them, but I got it. Xbox released it for free for sale a long time ago, so that's how I got it. So it's still in my Xbox. But yeah, definitely worth watching the documentary if you want to learn about the history of video games and movies, which is what our topic is. It is the top 5 video games based on movies. Now, there are a lot of great adaptations. There are a lot of shit adaptations. I'm going to throw out Batman Forever for the SNES. I threw my controller against the wall multiple times trying to beat that game. I still haven't beaten that game in 27 years.
I know the feeling.
What about you? Are there any other movie to video game adaptations that just for you were really hard? Hi, 50s mom.
Hi, 50s.
Mom is here. As far as I can remember, hi, Taco. I think I finished every video game move based on a movie I've played or owned at the very least, but there are several video games I've never got the chance to finish, but they weren't based on movies.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Ben?
There's some that took me a little longer, but I pretty much finished them. But yeah, I'm not. There's something I absolutely love, and I can't wait to talk about them.
Yeah, me too. And we're going to be geeking out about a lot of them as well. So, since it was my topic, I guess I get to go first. Is that how that works again?
Yeah.
Okay, so the first Lego video game on my list, number 5, Lego Jurassic World.
Punt.
Okay. Yeah, see, I thought I still had the game, but unfortunately I did, but I just found it for free on Xbox, so I downloaded it.
Right.
Okay, then 50, what is your number 5?
My number 5 is going to make, probably going to make Taco very happy. It's the Revenge of the Sith video game.
That was a good video game that I completely forgot about.
Yeah.
What system may I ask?
I played it on the PS2 back in the day.
On the Xbox.
All right.
And I'm pretty sure it was never released. I'm pretty sure it was never released on PC. Am I correct in assuming that?
You know what? I got Wikipedia right in front of me. Just give me a second.
Okay, so while you played on PC, Ben?
No,
I'm looking up if it was.
No, I'm bringing up PS2 like you.
Yeah, no, I played it on the original Xbox.
While you're looking it up, I'll just mention I love that video game. It's not my favorite Star Wars video game, but I think it did a wonderful job translating my favorite Star Wars movie into video game form. And first of all, the lightsaber battle mechanics was great. I love how the fact that they used basically all of the buttons on the controller to show us so many different lightsaber forms, and I'm pretty sure Taco already knows all of them. I love the powering system, even though it took me a while to figure out how that worked. A lot of mechanics with the blocking. I never block in any video game I play. Can we just put it that way? I never block in every fighting game, I would just
Me
attack.
neither.
If I lose, I lose. But I know I did my best. Anyways, every time like there was these moments where you go for an attack and the opponent just blocks you, shifts your lightsaber to the other side, and just punches you in the face. I always lost that. I never got a chance to do that to anyone else. But you know what? Who cares? I still beat the game multiple times, and it's got a great alternate ending. Because you can win the correct way, the canon way, as they say, with Obi-Wan slicing up Anakin and turning him into Darth Vader. You could also have an alternate way where Anakin kills Obi-Wan and then kills the Emperor, which is a little bit weird because if you complete that mission, you somehow unlock Vader in the suit and Ben Kenobi, old Ben Kenobi, as playable characters. Not really sure how that fits into the story if Anakin wins, but okay. It's great to have these characters playable in the game.
So I did look it up. Sorry. It was not released on PC. It was released on Xbox, PlayStation 2, Game Boy Advance, and the Nintendo DS.
Nice.
Cool.
Yeah.
And also, I love the little. For the most part, you're only playing as Anakin and Obi-Wan in the games.
Mhm.
There are some side missions where you get to play as Yoda, you get to play as Sindralig, or maybe it was there's a co-op moment where you can play as Sindralig and his apprentice Sarah. I think there's a Mace Windu mission. I'm not 100% sure, but yeah, playing as Grievous was obviously one of my favorite characters in the game, and what the game is most notable for, it's the game that introduced James Arnold Taylor as the voice of Obi-Wan.
Oh,
And
was it?
And from there, he just became the voice of Obi-Wan for everything, for like ads, for video games, obviously Star Wars, The Clone Wars. That was the game that introduced him. And he is now, in my opinion, he's now just as much Obi-Wan as Ewan McGregor and Alec McGuinness.
Right.
Yeah, no, I agree. This is, out of all the Star Wars games based on the movies, this is my favorite one. Now, I also haven't played it since the original Xbox, but I do remember having a lot of fun playing it and doing that alternate ending as well. I remember doing both endings.
Me too.
Yeah. And also, one final point, James Arnold Taylor, also the voice of Poe Kloon. And both Obi-Wan and him can be found on the planet Coruscant.
Cool.
Nice.
Right on. Okay, so Ben.
My number 5 might get punted, but I'll say it anyway. It's our first game on PC of Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone.
No, I never played those Harry Potter games.
I'm
Really?
pretty sure I might have played every single, at least played, not owned, but I'm pretty sure I played every single Harry Potter video game, except for maybe one or two.
Okay. Well, I love this one. It is a story from beginning to end, but you play as Harry, you learn spells, and it is fun. The voice acting is good. There's a part at the end where Harry's facing Quirrell and he's talking to Voldemort. There's this one line that me and my brother always make fun of because it is a funny way of him saying, "Give me the stone." It's like a high pitch, and he's like, "Give me the stone." And then it's really funny. I love this game. Flying is really fun to do also. With credit.
I think I've just remembered the Sorcerer's Stone on console version. I've never played it. I did play that. I think that's the only game I've never played out of the Harry Potter ones.
I actually, thinking back on it, I think I did actually play it, but it was on the PlayStation.
Okay.
Here's the thing. We'll get into that more on one of my later entries on my list, but up until Goblet of Fire, the first 3 games were different, completely different games.
Yeah.
Between the PC version and the console version.
That is correct.
And also, someone noticed my subtle attempt at humor. Interestingly, Coruscant and Poe Kloon. and apparently he completely missed out on my Alec McGuinness. But 2 out of 3 is still good.
Mhm. Okay, so my number 4, hope it doesn't get punched, is the second Lego game on my list. Lego Pirates of the Caribbean.
Punt.
Of course it is.
Okay, I'm not kidding. I have a pile over here. This was the first thing on my pile, and this was the second one. So I don't know. We're just in sync, I guess.
It is when it comes to these games because I fucking love the Lego games, man. They're so good. Okay, then 50, what is your number 4?
Okay, my number 4, strangely enough, it's the one I keep forgetting from my list. Hold on. I had it a second ago. Oh, yeah. A Bug's Life.
Never played it.
I'm pretty sure that's the only exclusive to PC. No, wait. It actually came out on multiple platforms, but I'm pretty sure that's the only one I played only on PC. I loved the game. I mean, full disclosure, A Bug's Life is actually my favorite Pixar movie.
Really?
Yeah, and I love almost all of the other ones, but A Bug's Life is my favorite Pixar movie. You're basically playing as Flick throughout the majority of the story, and you're it gives. Stay on target. Stay on target.
I wish I had that queued up.
It's okay. Someone already did it for you. But yeah, I love, again, just like with the Revenge of the Sith, how they were, how they very masterfully integrated the story into video game form, and how Flick interacts with all the other the circus bugs, and how every single circus bug serves a different purpose in the game. Whenever you run into Heimlich, you can bounce on his back, and that's how you reach hard to reach areas. Rosie just builds a couple of things with spider webs, tuck and roll, all you bounce even further. Yeah, there are all kinds of weird combinations of moves you can do with the circus bugs. Obviously, as an ant, you're fighting other bugs. So and it really it shows you just like the movie did. It shows you the world from an ant's point of view. So, obviously, you're an ant. Almost everything is going to be bigger than you, and my dad loves bugs and insects. He studied them for years. Some of that kind of spilled over to me. So I loved how they were able to fit a lot of bugs and their uniqueness, a lot of insects' unique features and traits into a video game. Like you have an armored millipede that just sleeps on its belly, allowing you making sure that you can't hurt it. There's a bee running around, and it's flying, and it only comes down to boom, sting you, and it jumps back up. Obviously, the flies are like tanks. They take a bunch of hits to take them down. The grasshoppers are really armored. You can't really hit them with the regular berries. You're throwing berries as weapons, and there's all kinds of weird berries. And there's like a special berry that if you use it to kill one of the bugs, they never respawn. And there's like a side mission in the game where you have to use that special berry to make every one of the bugs in a specific level just go away and never respawn to get a special medal. There's all kinds of medals. You can change the color of seeds, and each color grows into a different plant. You can level up plants where you can it starts off with a really small mushroom and grows into a much larger a plant, goes into a much larger dandelion. There's all kinds of weird mechanics with the game. And like I said, it's my favorite Pixar movie, and it might be my favorite game based on a Pixar property. So, yeah.
Right.
Right on. Yeah, it's I've only seen A Bug's Life once. It's somehow one of the ones that has kind of slipped through the cracks for me. It's not on purpose or anything. It just I didn't watch it for the first time until a couple years ago.
Really?
Yeah. But A50, do you want a movie poster?
You have one?
I have 2 of the Ladybug.
Nice.
I a couple years ago, when around the time Captain Marvel came out, my local movie theater was doing some cleanup, and they had tubes of posters for like $5, and I ended up getting 2 Bugs Life posters,
Nice.
like the full 24 by 40 theatrical one sheet.
Nice. I remember when the VHS releases came out, they had like 5 different VHSs with 5 different characters on the front, and I really wanted the Ladybug one. The Ladybug was my favorite character of the movie. That was like for him, Francis, which that's his name. There's one for Flick, Dot, Hopper, and Heinrich. That's an interesting marketing ploy that I wish more physical media distributors would adopt.
Mm-hmm.
Now, especially with all these Avengers movies where you have like 15 different characters in the same movie.
And there's a lot of people that are collectors nowadays. So yeah, I mean that's some cash cow right there. If they're
I mean that's a merchandising opportunity waiting to happen.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Merchandising. Ben, what's your number 4?
My number 4 is Jurassic Park, the driving game, but it's not on the console and it's not on the PC. It's in the arcade. It's one of those big games.
Oh, I remember that game.
This game, it was fun as hell. I didn't get to play it all that often because I didn't go all that often, but when I did, I loved this game. It was fun. The driving was fun. Great interpretation of the movie. It's a fun game.
Yeah, I where I live, we didn't have many arcades, but I did get a chance to play it many years ago when I traveled to Vancouver for the first time in high school. So yeah, I don't have a lot of memories of the game, but I do remember it was a lot of fun being chased by the T-Rex.
Oh, it was a blast.
Yeah.
It was a blast.
Strangely enough, when going to the arcade as a child, those big arcade games weren't really the main thing that drew me in. I was more in for these like silly, stupid things where you get the tickets and you can win prizes from. So yeah, I almost never touched any of the big arcade machines, which that's definitely one thing I feel like I missed out on, unfortunately, as a child.
I wish arcades were still as big as they were, because man, they were a lot of fun.
Oh god,
I mean, there is one right next to my house, and I've never been there, and I've lived here for like 5 years. It's just, there's nothing really to draw me in anymore.
Right? Exactly. Like, I mean, a lot of those games don't interest me anymore.
But also, from what I've heard, good Jurassic Park video games are really hard to find.
That is true.
Yeah, there are a lot of stinkers, and I only played 2 of them, and I love both. So
yeah, the Lego one is easily the best one.
Yeah, I agree. I concur.
Yeah. Okay, so my number 3, and if this gets punted, I quit. Okay, now this I have to do a distinction on because there were 2 video games released at the exact same time by 2 different video game developers about the same property. So this one is Disney's Aladdin on the SNES, created by Capcom. The Genesis one, which I didn't own at the time, was created by Virgin, but I'm talking about the SNES one. This was a lot of fun. You got to do all the things that you loved about the movie. You got to do the chase in the streets by the guards. You got to do the magic carpet escaping from the Cave of Wonders. You get to do the fight against Jafar at the very end when he's the genie. Like, you get to do all that. And this was the first video game adaptation of a movie that I really, really loved. I played it all the time. Like I said to you two beforehand, I ended up buying the remastered version on the Xbox One because they combined that and the Lion King into one special edition game, and they actually have all the versions of the game to play on there, which I think is really, really cool. So you can see the differences. For example, in the Capcom one, Aladdin doesn't wield any weapons during his fighting, but in the Sega Genesis one by Virgin, he uses a scimitar in his fighting. Like, it's differences like that.
Yeah, a scimitar.
A scimitar is that sword.
Type of sword, yeah.
Rounded blade.
Okay.
It's a sword primarily used by Mamluks, and they instead of just using it as a sword, they throw it.
Oh, nice! I didn't know that.
That's the Mamluk way of fighting. But so I'm guessing it's not the 2D side scroller game.
It is. It is the 2D side scroller. Yeah, it is.
Oh, from the way you were talking, it sounded like something else. But
No, it's a 2D side scroller, but the way the gameplay, like, it literally looks like you're playing the movie. That's how good the graphics were, and they still hold up.
I'm playing this. I remember
Mhm.
playing. I remember playing that Comic one. It was fun, man.
It still is
Great
fun.
game.
It
Great
still
game.
is. I played it when I bought it, and it still holds up. Still holds up.
Could I say it's a diamond in the rough?
You're not wrong,
Yeah.
to be honest.
Yeah.
It is a forgotten gem. It really, really is. And the beauty part is on this remastered version, they actually include making of documentaries for the games, which is fascinating to hear.
Wow.
To watch as well. Oh yeah, they went all out. If you guys can still get it, it was like $15 at the time. Totally worth getting if you're a video game fan.
my Xbox died on me a couple of weeks ago, so I
I'm
don't
so
know if
sorry,
I-
50. But hey,
I mean, I just turned it up and it lighted up for a second, and then poof.
well, that sucks. But hey, at least now you can get a new an Xbox. What did they call the new ones? Get one of those now.
Yeah, but here's the question though: Can you actually play the older games on this one? Because some games from the PS2 era you can't find it on the PS4. At least not my.
Yeah, I don't know. You'd have to look into that. But I'm fortunate. I still have my other machines still working, so I can do that. I'm fortunate. I know.
Cool. And as we talked about before the show, I didn't get to play neither that one nor the Lion King one.
Yeah.
However, one time when me and my mom went on vacation in Sinai, in the hotel there was a PS1 that actually, which the PS1 was already outdated at that point, but way outdated. So I don't know why it was even in that hotel. But
They wanted to be hip.
yeah, hip, as they say. But there was a Lion King video game on that one, which unfortunately I never got to play because there was something wrong with the controls where you just couldn't move. And I mean, there were a lot of other kids in that hotel, and there was like a line to get to it. But at least on my last day, I got to play a little bit of Crash Bandicoot
Nice.
on that. But yeah, like I said, unfortunately, the Lion King video game, which wasn't like a 2D side scroller, it was a 3D like third person. You're playing as Simba through the majority of the story. But maybe I
remember that.
and maybe I should look into what that game was called. Where can you find it? But it was really great.
I'm assuming, Taco, here you're talking about Star Wars Episode 1 Pod Racing, correct? Because that was a great game.
I remember that game. That was awesome.
That was. Did you ever play that, 50?
I think I played the sequel. And
there was a sequel.
Strangely enough, that's how I know about Gasgano. But for Star Wars games, I kind of wanted to stick to games that are direct kind of adaptations.
For sure.
And that one, like I said, never played that one, but the one I played, the sequel, Racer's Revenge, it basically takes place 2 years before Attack of the Clones. So it's not eligible for this list.
Yeah, no, the one we played, it is obviously a direct marketing tie-in to Episode 1, and it features all of the competitors that you see in the pod race in the movie. So you could say it is. No. Okay, so 50, your numero 3.
Tres. A movie that not a lot of people like, but I do. It holds a very special place in my heart. Thanks in most part to the video game, and it is the Over the Hedge video game.
I didn't know they did that.
Yeah, me neither.
The DreamWorks animated video game. You're basically playing as one of 4 characters. You get RJ, the raccoon, Vern, the turtle, or tortoise, I should say, Stella, the skunk, and Hammy, the squirrel. And believe it or not, the skunk was actually my favorite character in the game. But all 4 of them have different weapons. There's RJ fights with a golf club. You're gonna like this. Vern, the tortoise, fights with a hockey club. Hammy, the squirrel, just fights with a stick. And fittingly enough, Stella the skunk uses a plunger. Maybe that was the reason why I loved her so much, because she's fighting people with a plunger. And this was before I became a Doctor Who fan, by the way. But all 4 have different moves and attacks. And basically, it's like the first 3 levels are kind of basically the movie, or at least the second act of the movie. The rest is just all completely original stuff, almost like the continuation of a movie where you just get to go to different houses and steal some stuff. You get to steal food. You get to steal a television at one point. You steal a projector, a DVD, a popcorn machine, a cotton candy machine. You get an iPod. You get all this stuff. You get in every level is like 2 or 3 hats that you can wear, and the hats kind of serve as a shield for a couple of turns. And after you collected the hat randomly appears in your like place that you can go to, like a hub world where you can just go out and explore and see all the stuff you've stolen, like the projector, the TV, the DVD, like all this weird stuff you stole, and you can see kind of ads for other games. And there's like mini games where it's like bumper cars with golf carts. That was one of the most funnest mini games in a game. And what's even more is they really make you feel like you're playing an extreme bumper cars, because the cars just get destroyed during the fight. I mean, you lose the roof, the car gets completely totaled, it gets bent out of shape, and if you lose, there's like an explosion, and the driver of the car is just left there standing in the same place, not moving, in a completely destroyed and demolished golf cart. It's great. The only downside to the game is, full disclosure, this was at a time in my life where I wasn't able to find games in a legitimate way, and unfortunately had to resort to other methods. And as a result, the game I played both times, it was entirely in French. So I didn't understand a single word of what they were saying. But yeah, it was a fun game nonetheless.
Well, I'm glad the gameplay was able to transcend the language barrier for you.
Yeah, I mean, gameplay is an international language, I think.
Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. Yeah, ben oui, mon mister. Okay,
yeah,
Ben.
And they say allons-y a lot of times in the game.
Allons-y, awesome. Okay, Ben. Qu'est-ce que ton numéro 3?
I understand that.
Good.
Me too.
Excuse me. My number 3 is a lot like the pod racing game, only for this movie. Independence Day.
There was an Independence Day video game?
Really?
It was for Dreamcast. It was a funnest game. You get in a racing game. You get to meet other ships. You get to go to other planets. It was fun. I love this game. Didn't get to play it a lot because I only had Dreamcast for a short period of time. But it was a great game. I highly recommend it if you ever find a Dreamcast and you ever try to find a game of it. It's great.
I unfortunately have never, ever played a Dreamcast game.
Me neither.
It's the one worth going out of your way to look for.
I never heard any great things about the Dreamcast, unfortunately.
Isn't that the best system? And isn't that some fun games?
Yeah, I don't, unfortunately don't have anything to add, because it was one of those ones like I would see the games in the video store, and it's like they looked cool, but it's like my parents wouldn't let me rent the machine, so I had no way of playing it.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, because yes, folks, that was a thing back in the late 90s. You were able to rent video game consoles from your local video store. Yes, you were.
I remember doing that Black Random bit all the time. It was
my parents
fun.
never let me do any of that. And I remember growing up, I always got the new machines towards the tail end of their life. So I didn't get the original PlayStation. I had the little PS1.
Wow.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stores in Israel that they don't do that anymore, but a lot of stores, especially stores that sell video game stuff as part of what they're selling in the store, there's like a stand with a at the time it was a PS2 game being played all the time, and you can just walk out to it and play it whenever you feel like.
Oh, yeah,
It's not rentable. It's free. You can just walk up to it and play it. So whenever my mom went out shopping and for some reason decided to take me with her, the first thing I did was go to that stand and just
Mhm.
do this for like 30, 40 minutes until she finished shopping.
And
It's
the
great.
Ben-
I don't understand why they don't do that anymore, but
Yeah, no,
game-
they definitely had that here as well. Like I do remember like EB Games doing it. But Ben, do you remember when McDonald's had Nintendo 64s in them? I know they did in my town.
Yeah, I do remember
Yeah,
that.
that's the only that's the most time I ever spent playing Zelda Majora's Mask was in there. But unfortunately, people would constantly break the controllers.
Ooh,
because people.
yeah.
Yeah, never had that in my McDonald's. I just went and looked at the little box that has all the toys that come with the Happy Meals, and that's basically how I spend my time at McDonald's waiting for the.
Damn it! Now I want a Happy Meal.
Yeah, me
They got the
too.
Space Jam toys. I want the Space Jam toys.
You're like this, 50. Growing up, I remember getting Happy Meals. In 94, I got a toy based on the Lion King.
Me too. And this is probably I think this is the only thing I still have, but it's at my parents' place. The 4 mugs that for Batman Forever. You remember those,
Yeah.
Ben? I still
Yeah.
have them. So does my buddy.
Yeah.
I have to get them from my parents' place. They belong in my apartment.
I was.
You're not wrong. It's true.
Yeah, until your mom shows up and tells you to leave that stupid game alone. Anyways, I was definitely that kid that got their dads to buy them Happy Meals till an embarrassingly late age. I'll say that. Right up my teenage years,
Wow,
mostly for the toys.
Yeah, I stopped probably right before I hit my teens myself. Probably also my preteens.
Yeah, but one thing is for sure, I have a lot of Happy Meal toys from a lot of different eras. Strangely enough, I ate a lot of Happy Meals as a kid. Never actually completed a series of all
Me
the
neither.
toys. And I am a collector, and it kind of bugs me that I never got to. I did get close when they started doing SpongeBob as famous historical figures. That was a thing back in the day, and I got almost all of them.
Nice. SpongeBob characters that sounds like a fun collection, to be honest.
Yeah.
No, just SpongeBob himself, not the SpongeBob himself as like the discus thrower or Van Gogh or all kinds of weird stuff. No, it wasn't historical characters, just different cultures. So that, like a Japanese SpongeBob, a Russian SpongeBob, I don't know, an Eskimo SpongeBob, all kinds of weird stuff.
Wow, I'm just looking at Happy Meals for shits and giggles. They've changed quite a bit since we were kids.
Yeah.
Now they come with milk, yogurt, and carrots in Canada.
Ooh, really?
Because McDonald's is good for your health, kids.
Instead of fries, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
tempted to go to McDonald's to order and ask if I can buy a couple toys pro bono.
Yo, 50. Did you
I
have
wish,
any?
I wish that was an option where you could just buy a regular, a Big Mac and ask to just pay extra if you have to, but just get some toys.
You used to be able to do that. I've
Yeah.
done it a few times when I was younger.
And now I want to go to McDonald's just to see if it's possible to do that.
Yeah, but I'm gonna go do that. I'm craving a quarter pounder for lunch. I'm gonna go do that.
50. Did you have any of these? Hold on. I'm sure you did. Did you have any of these?
The Mufasa and Scar ones look familiar, but
I had the Simba one.
Yeah, me too.
yeah, the Simba plush one I think came out in a bit of when Lion King had their big re-release in 2004, I believe, when it came out on 3D for the first time, which was the introduction where they had the trailer for Lion King 1.5. Strangely enough, it was like
Which I think is underrated. But
I
that's just
love
me.
that movie.
Yes.
I love that movie.
I love that movie too.
Yeah.
But yeah, when the Lion King came back, it was a re-release in theaters and all that, and they came out with the Happy Meals again.
Right. Okay, so who's doing this?
I think
It
it's
is.
Minnesota. I think it's yours. Yours.
Yes. So my number 2, which I know.
No. Wait.
Aladdin.
Yeah. Yeah, here's.
Okay. So this is a Lego game that I know will not get punted at this point. This is the one that, well, not the first Lego game I played. It was the one that made me fall in love with the concept. It was Lego Indiana Jones: The Original Adventures. The very first game I got 100% across everything on.
Wow.
Accomplishments, achievements, special, everything. First game I ever did that on. Done it a few times. I still play it every couple years because it's so much fun. This is from the era where they weren't using dialogue, so the characters were doing weird grunts. But man, it is such a fun game. I'm not a particularly big fan of the second one they did because it felt like a rehash with different game mechanics and stuff. It just didn't work for me. But the first one is so much. If you're a fan of Indiana Jones, the Lego treatment of it is amazing.
I think my brother had it
You have a
and
brother?
played it. A stepbrother, yeah.
Oh, so
But-
there's a 51 Shades? No.
If anything, it would be 49. But no, would 49 be the younger brother or the older brother?
I guess it would be the older because you would add a new shade of geek.
Yeah, that's so 51 is the younger brother.
51's younger, yeah.
So he's like a 55. Anyways, so he had it, and I played a little bit of it with him. I just, for some reason, I never really gravitated to the Indiana Jones games. But like I said, I am a collector, so I should probably try to find a way to research those again.
So I have a little bit of a funny story about that. The last time I played it, I just downloaded it on my Xbox One. And this was back when two of my best friends were living on the floor above me. And so I'm playing it, and all of a sudden I just hear a knock on my door. And I answered it. It's my friend Chris. He's like, I saw you were playing that really old, lame-ass game. Here's a game you're worth your time. And he hands me back my copy of Star Wars Battlefront 2.
the new one or the old one?
The new one. I was just like, oh, you bastard.
And did you say it was the first game you ever completed 100%?
Well, I mean, like I've completed, like obviously NES games, you play through to the very end. But I mean, like the first one that had like all these things that you can do, like all the Xbox achievements and then all the special levels. Like it's the first one where I did literally everything and I unlocked everything. Ha! Ha!
When I don't get it.
That was James Franco saying first time, huh?
Oh,
Yeah,
okay, what was your first game to do that on?
I did it for almost every one of the Lego games I played, and pretty much every other game I played after that. As soon as the Xbox achievements and PlayStation trophies became a thing, that's what I started to do.
To be honest, I actually don't do that all that often because really I just buy video game for the play, or I play my sports games and stuff. But this is the first one where it was like I was just so invested in it, I just kept going.
Yeah, but to be fair, it's the replayability factor of
course,
these games.
100%.
It motivates you to complete them.
Yeah, 100%.
yep.
Okay, so which of my other two Lego games is your number 2, 50?
None, actually. It is actually Harry Potter
Whoa!
and the Order of the
I know.
Phoenix.
Time out. I listed 2 Pirates games. You punted twice. We're on a number 2 pick. What the hell?
All will be revealed shortly.
Fine. Lego Harry Potter did not make it on my list because I could not decide which game I like better.
Good, because it's not the Lego game. It's the It's the regular Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix game.
Never played it.
The movie version.
Yeah, never played it.
So that one made it onto my list, not only because I think it is the best non-Lego Harry Potter game, it's also better than the movie somehow. Because here's the thing. I think I said this multiple times already. The Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix movie, my least favorite Harry Potter movie. And it's the longest of the books, but it's the second shortest movie.
Mm-hmm.
And the game not only translates the world and the atmosphere of the movie into a video game, it also somehow is able to tell the story of the book better than the movie did in a video game form, while also delivering a great video game in the process. And I know video games always have to put playability first and gameplay first, story second. This game takes the cake by delivering a great video game experience, but also telling the story of Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix in a much better and more cohesive way than the movie did, while also somehow doing it in a shorter span of time, because it kind of really rushes through things, but you get things explained to you better in this format than you did in the movie. And also it gets bonus points for, once again, other than the Lego games, because the Lego games kind of do their own thing, but other than the Lego games, this game offers up the best designed Hogwarts in video games so far. I'm still waiting. The jury's still out on this new Hogwarts video game. It's supposed to come out this year, I think. But this is the best designed Hogwarts in any video game, because basically all of Hogwarts is open and explorable. And unlike the video games where it's very linear, and then the progression where you're going from one place to another, in this version of Hogwarts, you can basically go anywhere, and anywhere can lead you to anywhere, just like Hogwarts in the books. There's these portraits that you talk to them, you tell them a password, they open up a doorway to another part of the castle where the other part of the portrait happens to be in. So there's all kinds of shortcuts, and obviously because magic exists, you can go from the fifth floor over here to the seventh floor over there. And you also have the Marauders map at your disposal in any given point. You can go anywhere in the castle.
Nice.
You can mark locations, and there's these footprints that suddenly appear on the floor, guiding you to wherever it is you need to go.
Were there two in the corner facing opposite directions, like in the movie?
I did actually look that up. You are a dirty, dirty man. But yeah, that does.
I'm not the one that put it in the movie.
But leave it to you to notice something like this. But we'll talk about that in a different.
Okay. Whoa. First off, I had people point it out to me. I never noticed it right off the bat.
Wait,
maybe
I'm missing something.
So in the movie, in the
Prisoner of Azkaban.
Prisoner of Azkaban movie. So in the end credits, when they're doing all, it's either end or opening. I can't remember when they're doing all the credits in front of the Marauders map.
Yeah,
okay, so there are in one of those shots in the corner of a room on the Marauders map, there are two pairs of legs like this,
and someone walks in on them, and then they just disperse.
Yeah,
run away. And if you look really closely, you'll notice that every time one of those footprints are walking, and because the credits are rolling, every time one of those footprints comes across a long line from the credits, they just jump over it, like it's actually there. And also, there's a moment in the end credits where you see footprints turn into just human footprints without shoes. And eventually, it slowly transitions into a dog's feet. And obviously, it's serious. Mm-hmm. But yeah, we're not talking about that movie right now. We're talking about the Order of the Phoenix video game.
Stay on target.
You finally did it, didn't you?
I did it. I did what we were talking about it earlier.
But anyways, yeah. All of Hogwarts is explorable, and you can actually use you have a bunch of spells in your arsenal you can use on things at Hogwarts to kind of make the castle come to life. Where like you have all these torches, you can use Incendio to light up the flames in those torches. And you get special bonuses for like fixing the castle. There's a lot of broken things. You use Reparo to fix things up. You use Wingardium Leviosa to move things around and kind of make the castle look more lively. It's a very interactive castle. That's why it's the best playable Hogwarts in all of Harry Potter video games. And you get like special bonuses and secrets for completing it, which enhances your combat spells. But also as a bonus, you get to unlock behind the scenes videos about the game. And most of the original actors came back and voiced their characters in this game, in this version of the game, which is unlike most of the other ones.
I just want to say I love it when games do that, when you do certain things and you unlock behind the scenes accomplishment. My number one does that, and I love it when games do that.
I think I know what your number one is, but
yeah, it's been on before.
Yeah, but Yeah, and there's also you can interact with Moaning Myrtle, and she's the one who sends you out to find all these hidden secrets. And another part of the game which I did complete 100% is finding all these hidden secrets and level up myself as much as I can, and going to the old trophy room to find all the behind the scenes videos and all the trophies you get. You get trophies for all kinds of stuff. You play Wizards chess. You can play some Wizard card games. All kinds of stuff. You get trophies for that, and a lot of Hogwarts landmarks. You get points for finding them, but also the characters kind of interact with those landmarks. Like there's the moment where they talk about that stone where Hermione punched Draco in the face. They reference that. There's the chest that Alistair Moody was hidden in Goblet of Fire. That's there. You get to interact with the pipes in the prefect's bathroom on the. So I hope Sol isn't watching right now, but yeah, the prefect's bathroom on the 3rd floor. Let's put it that way, where Harry opened the egg in reveal the secret for the second task. There, you can actually open up the entrance to the Chamber of Secrets. You can't go in there, obviously, but it's there. You can also find the statue of the one-eyed hunchback witch that offers up a shortcut to Honeydukes. You obviously can't go to Hogsmeade in this game, but a lot of these Hogwarts iconic landmarks can be found in the game, which is great.
Right.
Nice.
Yeah, I had a lot to say about that game, but
all good. That's you're passionate about the game, and I mean, like I could probably do the same about my number one. So
yeah, like I said, it's
now,
the best.
Now I think I know what you're doing with the Lego games. It took me a minute, but I think I know what you're doing.
Okay, Ben, what is your number 2?
My number 2 is for N64. It's based on a movie franchise that's still going on to this day.
Yeah, I know what this is.
Mission Impossible.
No, it's not what I thought it was. Okay.
What did you think it was?
A GoldenEye.
Oh,
Stay tuned. Stay tuned.
Yeah.
Stay
Okay.
tuned. Mission Impossible. They were based on the very first Mission Impossible game. In the movie, I mean. And not exactly shot for shot storytelling, but you do get to play the iconic scenes here and there. You get to do the hovering over the lasers, which is pain in the ass, but fun as hell. You get to do face swap. You get to do shooting. It's fun. I love this game. It's my second favorite for a reason, and that makes me all I have to say about it.
So I never played it. I mean, I certainly was aware of it. But unfortunately, Mission Impossible came at me a lot later in life. Like the first time I ever watched a movie was Ghost Protocol in theaters. Then I went back and retroactively watched them. So I never actually played the game.
And I have to be honest, talking about the movie franchise, I know everybody hates it too. That might be my second favorite.
Oh,
For some reason, I love that movie.
I found it boring. You want a movie poster of that one too? I have a few of those. No, seriously, I do. And I'm not gonna lie, like it's not my favorite movie, but I really love the poster.
Nice. Maybe we'll talk after the show.
It was the prefect's bathroom on the 5th floor. Just wanted to point that out. But yeah, for some reason, I never really got into the Mission Impossible movies. I mean, the first one's okay, but other than that, I mean, those movies really bore me to sleep. And unfortunately, I had to watch all of them to study for Fan League matches. But I never really. What? But yeah. No, I just watched the movies and try to remember as much as I can. But yeah, for some reason, I could never get into those movies. And I tried. I watched all the first 5. I fell asleep in all of them except the first one. So
okay, the newest one is amazing, but this is the only criticism I will give them is I wish they were shorter. Sometimes.
Understandable.
What did you think about Henry Cavill in the newest one?
I fucking loved it. It was cool seeing Cavill as a villain.
So it was worth it to have that whole stupid deal with the mustache thing?
You can ignore that part. But I don't know. I you knew it was coming a mile away, but I still thought it was enjoyable, especially the end sequence when they're flying helicopters to the mountains. Like, it was cool.
I wish they left it open for him to come back.
How?
Because he's Superman.
Ben, you saw what happened to his character at the end of the movie.
I wish they left it
Oh, I
open.
was just like, there's no way they can do that.
No,
Unless
I
it's like
know. They can't. I said I wish they
Oh,
could.
okay, I totally misread that, but I was like, wow.
Hey,
Because he went out like hard.
He is Superman, so maybe there is a way
The
that.
mustache will save him.
Yeah.
yeah. Also, face swap technology. Or someone else.
Well, I don't know, man. I will say this: he was burned pretty bad. So,
They could take his face. Oh.
oh dear lord, I wouldn't mind seeing a reboot of that. Okay,
Oh no! I don't want a reboot. I want a sequel.
reimagining.
I want a sequel with Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman. Let's make that happen.
Feige, book it. Okay, so we're gonna do our honorable mentions now.
Okay.
So I'm gonna go first. So I have Lego Star Wars: The Complete Adventures on here. Friday the 13th. Sorry, yes, the complete saga. The reason why I didn't rank higher is because I'm actually waiting for the Skywalker saga to come out, which I think will actually be the best Star Wars video game, Lego wise. Finally
should
does come out.
Should I tell him though?
I know it's been delayed again.
It's been delayed indefinitely.
Fuck off, really?
And more so than that, there was rumors that Warner Brothers was considering selling off TT Games, which is the game developers making the games. Warner Brothers came out and denied them, obviously. However, it came out around the same time where a lot of the higher ups of TT Games were just quitting. And I'm not talking about getting fired for creative differences. They're just quitting, jumping ship. Arthur Parsons was the game director on most of the Lego Marvel and Lego DC games, jumped ship. So don't get your hopes up too much.
Well, that breaks my heart. The Warner Brothers sell the company to Disney, you cowards. Okay, so Lego Star Wars,
Yes.
The Complete Saga was on there. I also had Friday the 13th, the 2017 game on there. While not a direct adaptation, you do play as Jason Voorhees. You do get to revisit some iconic places around Camp Crystal Lake, and you do get to kill some of the other characters from the movie. It's a fun game, but that's why I put it in my honorable mentions, because it's not a true adaptation. Of course, GoldenEye. Didn't really play the campaign much. For me, it was all about the first-person shooter when I was growing up, so that's why it's not on the list. The SNES version of The Lion King, and of course, Star Wars, Lego Star Wars: The Force Awakens, which is a truly, truly good game.
I agree.
Okay, 50. What about you?
I have a lot of honorable mentions, so sit tight. One that was on my list before taking it off, and the reason I took it off is because it's not really an adaptation of the movie. But it's Jurassic World Evolution, which basically it's like the Roller Coaster Tycoon games where you basically build your own park. You're building your own Jurassic World. But like I said, it features characters from the movie, voiced by the same actors. However, it pulls more from the books and the original source material, and it's sort of like a what if, an alternate universe version of the Jurassic World. But yeah, there's that. The Madagascar games 1 and 2, Shrek 2, the video game. It was a specific one for the PC that I can't remember which version of it was, but that was the one I played a bunch of times and finished it. Shrek Super Slam, which is basically Super Smash Bros. With Shrek characters.
Right, it's like a pro wrestling. No, I'm thinking of something else. Never mind.
Yeah, it's Super Smash Bros. with Shrek characters. You had a bunch more. Oh yeah, I don't know which platform it was. I think I used an emulator on a PC, but it was a Toy Story side-scrolling platformer. It felt like it could have been on like a Game Boy or something, but it was a Toy Story side-scrolling adventure platform. And
For the SNES.
might have. I'll look it up later and send some pictures in the group chat. But the final one on my list, a game I never got to play, unfortunately, but I have heard that just like the Harry Potter one, it outshines the movie, and it's X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Oh, I
It
never played that
actually-
one.
Right.
Yeah, it actually, from what I've heard, it actually makes the story told in that movie watchable, and it almost makes people happy the movie came out because we got a great video game out of it.
Right on.
Right.
All right, Ben, what about you?
My honorable mentions are Home Alone, Toy Story for SNES, and Back to the Future.
There's the Back to the Future video game? Oh, probably was, I guess, in the 80s.
No, I think there's a newer one.
There
I
is,
knew-
but there also was Back to the Future video games as well
Yeah.
from in the past.
Yeah. So
Okay.
that's my fault. That's my honorable mentions.
Okay. Well, let's get into it. So, I mean, it's pretty obvious what my number one is. It is The Godfather, the video game.
Oh, fuck, I forgot about that.
I
Yeah, that-
expected that one.
It's the game I've played the most. It's the game I've
Yeah.
beaten the most. I mean, I get I've seen the movie so many times. I've played the game so many times. And I still get a lot of enjoyment out of it because you're part of the world, and that's what I love about it. They integrate your character into the events of the movies, and you do missions that were only hinted at in the movies. It's a fun game. It's a 1940s version of GTA.
Right.
Cool.
Yeah, and they brought back a few of the original voice actors, and it has Marlon Brando's last recorded lines before he passed away, which I think is really cool.
Wow.
They recorded. He was supposed to originally come back and voice Don Corleone for the full game, but unfortunately, he was very sick at the time. So they did record some dialogue. They ended up replacing him for the most part of the game. But there is a scene when you enter the hospital right after Vito gets shot. Michael goes there, and with the whole cops thing, if you've seen the movie, if you actually go up to Vito's room and you just stop and listen, you'll actually hear Marlon Brando's final dialogue talking to Michael. It's the last thing he ever recorded before he died.
That's awesome.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
So 2004 then.
Yeah.
because that's when it was when.
And also, the game has it's tied into an interesting time in my life. So there's also personal reasons why I'm attached to the game. Also, it finally got me to watch the movies, which I'm glad I did. But yeah, I love playing this game. I love the characters of the Godfather. The sequel is not the greatest sequel, but it's playable. But
Oh.
it's the first game all the way. The first game all the way.
I thought you meant the sequel to The Godfather. I'm like,
No. I'm talking the
Really?
sequel video game to the Godfather.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
Hmm.
okay.
They couldn't replicate the success that the sequel had over the first
No,
one.
not really. And like some of the
No,
gameplay
that-
mechanics.
What I meant was they couldn't replicate the sequel of the movie.
No.
Being better than the original. They couldn't do that in the video game, where the
Yeah.
sequel of the game was better than the.
100%. It's just the way they integrated the story. It's iffy at best. Okay, so 50. What is your number one?
My number one, I'm gonna take a page out of Ben's playbook by doing a bit of a cheat. Hold on. I'll call him back later. But yeah,
Good.
and it's a little bit of a cheat, but it's basically all of the Lego games that happen to be based on movies. And as you can see, I have a bunch of them.
Yep.
So just to go over my list, I have Lego Jurassic World, Lego Pirates of the Caribbean, Lego The Hobbit, Lego the Lego game. No, sorry, the Lego movie, the video game. This one technically doesn't count. Lego Lord of the Rings. Neither this one. It's the Clone Wars. It does feature parts from the movie, but it's mostly the first season of the show, with a little bit of the second season. Both Lego Harry Potter games, which I'm now playing on a PS5. As you meant, the aforementioned Lego Star Wars: The Force Awakens.
Yep.
Lego Marvel's Avengers, and what I think is the best of the best, in my opinion, the best video game I ever got to play, or at least the most fun video game ever made, Lego Dimensions, which brings in 30 different franchises, some of which happen to be movies, into one video game. And it's got Back to the Future, it's got Ghostbusters, the Simpsons, not really from the Simpsons movie, but the Simpsons is here. The Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, Gremlins, the Goonies, all of it. And in the second year, they introduced a new feature where you can actually, so basically every single level is taken from one of these properties. You can actually go back and travel there later in like a hub world of sorts of that particular property. And the second year, they introduced a new feature where you can basically just play the length of a regular Lego game, like with 6 levels and a full story. You can play through the entirety of the story of the movie in this video game for the Ghostbusters 2016 reboot, for Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, and for the Lego Batman movie. So you can basically have all these movies inside one video game. But yeah, the Lego games, they're the reason I'm such a huge Lego fan. The reason my entire apartment is now decorated with Lego stuff. They were obviously the Lego Star Wars games. The original ones were the ones that introduced me to this world. They are the reason I'm a Star Wars fan to begin with, because I played the games. I never liked Star Wars before the games came out. I played those games at a friend's house, and mostly because he needed a friend, because they're all Lego games, except for maybe this one, but all the Lego games are co-op games. You need two players to play it. He needed some help. He needed someone to be the Obi-Wan to his Qui-Gon, and I fit the bill because I was there at the time. So that those games are the reason I am a Star Wars fan. It also introduced me a lot of movies that I kind of been hesitant to watch. Those games really introduced me to and made me watch those movies. I wasn't really a big fan of the Jurassic Park movies. Saw those movies, and as I got out of Jurassic World in the theaters, and immediately bought the game.
Nice.
I watched all the Pirates movies for the Pirates game. Obviously, the reason I watched Back to the Future was because of Lego Dimension. Same thing goes for Ghostbusters and all the other stuff, the Goonies, the Gremlins. And the reason I'm a DC fan is because of these guys. What else do I have here? The Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit game. I watched those movies because the games were coming out. Those games are so much responsible for my love of a lot of movies, and the reason why I play in Inner Geekdom tournaments, and the reason why I actually know a lot of details, and the reason why I did so well in some of my fan league matches in those specific categories was because of those games, because they feature all of the characters, the locations, moments from the story. Some of the later ones, they introduce the dialogue, so you can actually look at the dialogue. Yeah, and the dialogue from the movies. And in this game, the Star Wars Force Awakens, they introduced canon missions that weren't in the story. Yeah, pretty much. They introduced new missions that weren't in the movie, and they are canon missions featuring the original actors in this silly little Lego game. And just the Lego games, man, they are my life.
Can I ask you, is Lego, like, can you still play Lego Dimensions? Because I know they took down the servers, but can you still go and play them?
You can play the game. I mean, it's what you can't do is you can't buy. The reason why this game failed is because it was a Toys to Life game, and those games almost never work. And it was basically you needed to buy the game separately, and the characters separately. And no one bought the characters, and they invested so much money into the game that it just wasn't profitable for them. But you can still play the game. I mean, it's still a game.
Yeah, no, because I've just recently noticed that people were selling off in my town their Dimensions toys, and I was just wondering if you were able to still play the game and whatnot.
I have most of them, so I can play as most of the characters. But if there's anyone willing to sell any of the characters I don't have, I'd be happy to take them.
Well, that's what you do on eBay and stuff, right?
Yeah, the problem is I don't think you can find it anymore on eBay because they stopped making them, and the prices will probably go up way up high. So
you never know. What the hell? Okay, so Ben, what is your number one?
Well, my number one is pretty obvious. I feel nobody had it. My mother never thought nobody had it. GoldenEye.
Like I said, it's because I only played the multiplayer.
Me too, but that's taking away from the game. And the story mode is awesome. I love this game, and the multiplayer, yeah, it's the best part, but the single missions are awesome. I love the interconnective. I love the multiplayer. I love playing some of the missions from the story. It's a great game, great first-person shooting, great option to play. Yeah, there's great levels, great characters, great missions. I love this game. Any thoughts on?
Yeah, I mean, at the time it was a fun game, but like I said, like really the only reason we got together and we got to play multiplayer all the time. I do remember Robert Carlyle's character in the multiplayer was a freaking cheap character to play because I'd be standing there shooting a point blank in the face and then he'd shoot me and kill me in one shot.
Oh yeah, I need him. Huh.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Yeah.
I never played that game, to be honest. And
You would have been 3 when it came out. 4, maybe.
Yeah.
either way, I never went back and tried to find it. I'm not really a James Bond fan.
To be
I'm
honest,
sorry.
this was the first, games have taken this concept and just improved. There's way better, in my opinion, games that do the same concept. But I mean, from a nostalgic standpoint, of course, it's one of the best games ever.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it its respect, man. I mean, yeah, in my favorite N64 game, in my favorite movie to game, obviously, and I love this game.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm not going to argue against that because, I mean, it's on my honorable mentions for a reason.
Yeah.
Okay, Big Crisis. I just noticed. I think I'm missing one of my games. I can't
Which
find
game?
it. Lego Batman 3 Beyond Gotham.
I've got
It's
that one.
over- I'm pretty sure I got that one on the physical form. See, that's why digital is always better than physical form, especially in video games.
Mhm.
So, yeah, get with the times, everybody.
Well, no. I mean, not always. When it comes to movies, I will still go physical every day because there will come a time when movies will no longer be available on streaming and will not be able to watch them. So if I have the video, please can watch whatever the hell I want. Hence,
Until
Yes.
until the disc gets too scratched out and you can't play it anymore.
yeah, but see, I take care of my discs.
Or you
You
lose
take care of your discs, but when a
take care of
guest
my
comes
discs.
over and he's like, oh, you have this movie on your oops.
Yeah, I'm the only one that touches my movies, and my friends, when I do lend them out, they know not to like leave the weak side face down on the. Because my
Yeah.
friends are really bad for that. They'll put like the face with like the part where like all the designs, they'll have that facing up. And it's like no, that's not what you want to do.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because it scratches it. If you're
I
gonna
mean,
do that, you put it on the side with the design because if that scratches off, it's not going to affect the disc. But if you do it the other way, you could potentially risk damaging the disc.
wait, when you put the next way, you put a picture up.
Here, I'll give you an example. So yeah,
Love
the proper way to do this. So the disc, this is the side you do not want to put down on the surface ever. Because once
Yeah.
this middle thing in the goes, you can't not use it. If you're gonna
Yeah,
do it,
but
you
what-
put it this side down.
When you put it in the case, which way?
Yeah, when you put it in the case, it's correct, but because there's also the space there, it's designed to not damage the disc. But if you just leave a disc loosey-goosey lying around and you put it like this side facing up, you're gonna ruin it.
Okay, yeah, I knew that. I thought you meant in the case itself.
No.
Yeah, I'm glad you just said that because my mom always thought it was the other way around. You leave the part without the picture printed on it. You leave it up.
Yeah,
So I'm glad you mentioned that.
my friends have ruined so many, not my DVDs, they've ruined so many of their own DVDs over the years doing that, and they still don't get it.
So I'm
Yeah.
just guessing, Matt. Are you that guy when somebody borrows one of your DVDs? Are you that guy that you have like a write out system?
No. I do lend out my movies and what have you, but they know not to screw around with my discs.
Okay.
And also, speaking of ruining discs, and speaking of my mom, this is something that my mom did for my Lego The Clone Wars.
I see the ring. Yeah.
Yep. And when you tell your mom that you do not ever move the console when it's working and there's a disc inside it, and she doesn't listen, that's what happens. Because my mom was always like, "Oh, look at him! He's taking care of his stuff with his own money. That's cute." Yeah, I hope you did. I still haven't forgiven you for ruining my disc, Mom. I told her 1,000 times, do not move the console when it's working. It was like, oh, suddenly you're taking care of your own stuff because you bought it with your money? This is what I told you would happen, and this is what happens when you don't listen to me.
So let's just say 50 has PTSD from that incident. Which I don't blame him. I once dropped a Jaws special edition disc, and it just completely cracked right in that little part that you don't want to crack. Wow. I was so disappointed.
To be fair, though, she made up for it by getting me this one. So,
there you go. Win-win. All right, everybody. So that brings an end to the list. We do not, unfortunately, have the topic for next week, but definitely stay tuned because it is Saul's turn to pick. So if you have it, leave in the comments and what have you what your favorite video game adaptations of movies are, because I mean it seems like that's something they don't do anymore.
Yeah,
at least not with
for the most part. They just do like the Avengers games, like Jurassic World Evolution, like I mentioned. They just do alternate versions of what would have happened.
Or they also mostly it's also mobile apps. I've noticed too that they've kind of transitioned to.
Yeah, real quick, guy.
Like you said, they want to be hip.
Real quick, guys. Rapid fire. One movie you want a game of today. Go.
Like a newer movie?
A newer movie. A present day movie.
Can it be a Lego movie? A Lego game?
It can be anything.
That's a thinker.
Lego Fast and the Furious.
Okay.
That would be so much fun.
All right.
Okay. Can I cheat and say the Schmodown?
They kind of did that already.
Yeah, they did that.
Here's the one thing. It's not a movie, but for the longest time, I really wanted a Lego Once Upon a Time.
That'd be cool.
That would be
Just think of all the mechanics, and you can use obviously the Mad Hatter, which is Sebastian Stan's character, would be probably the most broken character ever because he can travel between realms using his hat.
Yeah.
And one of the things you really need to collect would be the magic beans, because that's how you travel between realms. But yeah, just think of all because in the Lego games you can play as all the characters. Just think of the playability factors you can with all the different characters and every different character's ability. Obviously, of course, like Rumpelstiltskin also would be a very broken character, but
you know what, 50? That is a very underrated show. I will say my choice. Give me a John Wick game.
Actually, wouldn't be bad.
It would be a nice, like the GoldenEye, but in a more modern sense.
Yeah.
Modern version.
Even John Wick. Yeah, I always think of John Wick.
I like that.
All right.
All right. So, thank you guys very much for joining us. It's always a fun to talk these lists. 50, where can everybody find you?
You can find me on my YouTube channel, 50 Shades of Geek. You can also find me on Twitch at 50 Shades of Geek, where I'll be playing these games in preparation for a Harry Potter trivia match that should have happened last night, but got delayed again. That match is getting delayed more than the Black Widow movie. But yeah, I'm going to have that match now on August 3rd on the John Roca Patreon. I will also all of my Twitch streams will be eventually brought to my gaming channel, 50 Shades of Gaming. You can also check out my Patreon, patreon.com/ Pokemon Star, Cross, and Crescent. I am designing a Pokemon fan game based on Israel, which is where I live, and this is part of the artwork that you can find. And I will be posting some artwork a little bit after the show tonight, so stay tuned for that.
And Ben, what about you?
You guys can find me at man_radio on Twitter. You can find me in a few hours on Mount Schmodown. my Schmodown show where we're going to, normally we're going to play some careers, summer we're going into factions. Today we're going into the usual suspects.
Right on.
And every Tuesday on Shooting the Breeze with Matt here, and every Friday on Recapping the Past. I think that's everything.
And as for myself, you can find me on my personal Instagram and Twitter at soda_the_Saxman. You can find me on all the shows Ben's listed on here. You can also find me most Fridays on Schmodown in Canada, the occasional Sunday show as well. You can find me Saturday nights producing Let's Talk About Star Wars, which tonight you definitely want to tune in because it is the second edition of Star Wars Alien or Not, the game. But our competitors, we have none other than our co-host, Evan, aka Gold Leader from the Schmodown, versus Marie Wilson versus Moose Hawes. This is going to be intense. Check it out. And on that note, thank you very much for joining and watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, and we will see you all next week on Get Sweaty. And don't forget, everyone, stay sweaty.